Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy... Oh my gosh, that was terrible. Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to Kathryn Scraps Live. My name is Kathryn, and this is a show where we craft live typically one project from start to finish, from planning to final details, the whole thing. This video is part of a series. This is our December Daily Wallet series. And we are currently working on this wallet. Basically, we're going to have a, we're making standalone wallets. They look like this. They have straps that you can use to close them up so that they stay, you know, nice and neat and tidy as a wallet, but they're expandable too, so you can stuff them full of whatever, photos, receipts, etc. We're working on this one right now. And what we're working on is designing the papers that will go inside of it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be just designing with that in mind. And so the two things we need to keep in mind are that, and I'm just going to temporarily stick this in the pocket dry with no adhesive just so we get the idea. So this is the front here on the right. This is the back here on the left. Those are the two papers that we know are involved and that we are designing with them in mind. And then over here, we have all of our inserts. So we've got three roughly 4x6 inserts we need to work on. We have two tags, and then we have this gatefold, which has lots of little pieces. Okay, so what we'll be doing today is designing all the pattern paper that's going to go like here. It's going to go here. That's going to line this pocket, all that. And then we do have the strap, and I have put the pattern paper on the strap already as well. It hasn't been trimmed down. It's just been drying. But this is the pattern paper, and it's going to be attached here, so you'll see it from the inside. We'll just make sure we attach it so it's right side up when we see it from the inside. So this is just the last thing we're keeping in mind as we go. We already started this last week. We just ran out of time, so we just ran out of class. So we are going to swap over to Photoshop really quickly. Here I am just going to check the weather, see what the sitch is. So according to, let's look on my phone. All right, we're supposed to have light rain showers, which is not totally terrible. Really, the danger is thunderstorms. Oh, starting at 3 p.m. With the highest chance between 4, 5, and 6. Okay, well, hopefully we'll be okay. There's also one scheduled for 10, which is, that's the real frustration. Because we seem to have, and I don't know if it's just a coincidence or what, but I feel like we've had way more trouble at night than we have during the day. I feel like the nighttime is our bad time. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna switch to the PC, and this is what we did so far. So what we might do is if we're like really on a roll, or if there's a possibility if I stayed an extra hour I could finish a wallet or something like that, then we may just do an extended show this afternoon, you know. But also, I have just as many thunderstorms scheduled for this afternoon as I do tonight. So if I abruptly disappear, that's what happened, and I'll see you tonight if I can. All right. So this is what we've been working on for the inside. So this is the liner for the inside front left pocket. So if you're looking at the wallet inside, there's a pocket on the left that holds a 4x6 photo folder, and this is the liner for that. And this is the coordinating piece that goes on the front of the pocket. So, and then this is the front of the folder liner, and the back of the folder liner is this. So this is going to slide in between these two. And in fact, I can show you what it's going to look like even. And that's what it's going to look like in the final in the final project. Isn't that neat how we can kind of see that? So you can see that we're really leaning into the blues and the greens this time. Not even so much the blues, but really just the various shades of green that we have. Yeah, that's true, Melanie. That makes sense. Melanie says at nighttime, because everyone's home, they're drawing more power, so any little thing can be the last straw. That totally. I'm gonna buy that because it feels like nighttime is worse. So I'm just gonna accept your decision. Okay, so we're in Photoshop. So we've got the whole left side of the pocket done essentially, and now we're gonna be working on the whole right side. So what I want to do is. First, I'm going to pull up the photo bin because I just want to look at the papers that are in this color family that we have to work with. So we have this one, the poinsettia. We have this one, but we want to avoid it except for if we were going to only use this corner piece, and that's because this is on the front. This is on the front pocket. So that would be maybe more than we need of that one design. Oops, not that one. This one, we have the snow, which works. The star, which we used pretty heavily in the beginning, but we haven't used in a minute. So we could use it. This one we've already used. This one we have used a couple times, but we can use it again. This one, which would be nice. This one, which is darkest green. This one we've already used. That's the one that is on the back of that. And then there's the plaid. So what we want to do now is we want to pick 4 patterns of paper, or 3 patterns of paper and a card. And so the 3 patterns of paper are going to line the pockets, and the 4th one can either be pattern paper or it can be a card on the front pocket of the wallet. So, okay. So let's just pick the 3 papers we want to use. So I think I'll use this plaid, and I want to use this poinsettia, and I'm going to bring over the snowflakes, this other poinsettia, which I actually may like better. And then I've got the doggos. So what we may do is we may do like an ombre. So I'm looking here, and you can see it in the photo bin. You can see lightest green, middle green, darkest green. What we can do is we can make kind of an ombre effect for those. We can use those 3. Excuse me. I don't know what is going on with my voice, sorry to say. Not that if I knew what was going on with it, I could fix it, but I don't know. So, all right. So I'm going to grab, for this one's the one I would do at the top, because if I'm going to do an ombre, I want to be lightest at the top and darkest at the bottom. And the reason I like it that way is because darker colors, your brain interprets those as heavier objects. Okay. So when you're looking at colors, even if it's just color, all it is, there's no actual objects on the thing. The lighter the color is, the lighter, literally, physically, like if you were to lift it, your body interprets it. And so what your brain doesn't always like, and this is not a hard and fast rule, and it can, of course, be designed very well with dark at the top and light at the bottom. But what your brain typically doesn't like, and which will require some skill to overcome, is to see heavy things on top of light things. And that's just because in reality, we don't put heavy things on top of light things. You put a feather on top of a china cabinet. You don't put a china cabinet on top of a feather. That's kind of how to think about it. So starting at the top, I need a piece that's 4 3/4 by 2 inches. That's that top liner. So that's what I'm going to grab here, is 4 3/4 by 2 inches. Now I can move this around to a place that's not a corner, just where it's a little bit more dense. If I just want to mix it up, I don't have to do this, but you know, I can. So I'm going to drag this onto the sheet that I've started. And just slide it there for now. We may have to rearrange this sheet or, you know, rotate some of these things. Then I'm just going to go back over here and press Control Z so that, you know, that goes back to normal. Now this one's going to go in the middle. So this is the next one down from that. So this is the second pocket liner, and this is 4 3/4 by 2.5. So this one's a scooch longer, but it's not long. 4 3/4 by 2.5. And what you can do is you can just move this around and you can say, do I want more empty sleds? Do I want more doggies? How do I want it? Do I want a sled right smack in the middle that it looks like the dogs are framing? Yes, that is what I want. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna grab it, and when I grab it, I go to the photo. You see, I keep opening this tray at the bottom. That just makes it easier to drag all the different photos in between each other, or in between the pages. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go back here once again, just press Control Z, so that when I want it later, it's there for me. All right, so this is the last one. This one's also 4 3/4 by 2.5. So I'm gonna crop it. The crop tool is this diamond thing. It looks kind of like a candy twist in Modify. All right, so once again, with this, you can move it around until you get something you like exactly. And so this is what I want, I think, right here. Okay, so I chose this because I have more or less 3 poinsettias right across the top. And that gives me a little bit more red than I might otherwise have. Okay, so now for the fourth pocket. This is the one that's on the front of all the pockets. So this one doesn't get covered by a tag or an insert of any kind. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look at some of these pieces down here. And again, I'm kind of looking for the greener ones. So this is certainly an option, this 25. And at some point, I would like to use a 25 in here. So that's certainly an option. Another option is this Let It Snow, which we quite literally put snow on this page. So maybe we can do something with that. We have this little dog. I feel like, did we maybe do something with the dog on the front of a pocket before? Or did I just think about that at one point and just never ever do it? I'm off camera, I'm just looking at all the wallet pockets. Oh, I haven't put a card on a single wallet front. Okay. Smart. Smart. All right, so we can go ahead and we can use the dog if we want to. All right. So that's what we'll do. So what we need to do now is we need to make a new document. I don't know what Photoshop calls them. File, new blank files. Okay, so we're gonna make a new blank file in the size, our final size that we need, which in this case is 4 3/4 by 2 3/4. So that's 4.75 by 2.75. I'm like so annoyed right now because Marcel is stuck in a box on top of the fridge. And it's just like, Marcel, buddy. He's like scrabbling at the sides of the box trying to get out. Where did I put that dog? Where did the dog go? The dog's higher, right? That's my problem. All right, Liz is gonna try and teach Marcel how to get himself out of the box. She's trying to make it a teach a man to fish moment versus a give a man a fish moment. All right, so we're gonna rotate just the layer. So and then what we wanna do is we wanna make this, you know, the correct size, and then we'll adjust it later. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the eyedropper tool over here from the draw panel on the left, and we're gonna eyedropper the background green. And then I'm gonna pop over to the square or the rectangle, and I'm gonna make a rectangle in that green. I just need to put that rectangle below the dog. So now what I can do is now I can move the dog however I want. Right here is mostly centered. I think we can make it a little bit bigger. And so I need to scooch the dog about here, I think. Okay. That's close enough for me for this application, so I'm gonna flatten the image, and that way I can just more easily drag it onto my print sheet. He did it! Good work, buddy. All right, so Marcel is out of the box. He's out of the box, everyone. Congrats to Liz for rescuing him. All right, so now we have the front of the pocket. Oh, you know what I kind of want to do is, didn't we have, oh, here it is. It's this. These little snowflakes. I kind of like these. So now I'm thinking maybe what I do is I'm going to use that same green that I had before where I, from the dog. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, I changed their background so that it would be the same color as the dog, and now I'm gonna resize it after I've cropped it out so it'd be easier to work with. And I'm going to make it the same height as the dog, which in this case is 2 3/4. So the height needs to be 2.75. And that's going to make it, you know, the right size, essentially, to just stick on top of the little doggies. And I'm just going to crop it a little bit closer just so it's easier. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag this down onto the print sheet twice. Well, maybe not twice. I don't think I need to do it twice. All right, I'm going to now rotate that layer. So I got to rotate that layer. And then just so you can see me stick this in easier, I am going to just zoom in on this corner. Oops. Went a little too close. Okay. So you can see where I stuck it right here, and that makes the gaps on the side look more intentional than they did. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the image 90 degrees left. Again, this is just to make it easier to see for doing this. Now, if I had done this before I stuck it down, it would have been easier, but, you know, I didn't, so here we are. All right, and so now all I can do, or all I have to do, is I can just duplicate this layer and then just slide it over here. And I think we'll just do it like that. All right. And so with that, that kind of finishes off that little piece. So all I have to do is rotate back to the correct orientation, or the orientation that makes sense to me. And then I right click with the zoom tool and I say fit on screen, and that allows me to see the whole thing all at once. All right, so now that looks good. I'm gonna go back into the photo bin, and we're just gonna find that card, and we're just gonna Control Z until we're, you know, back to normal. In case I want to use it later, I can see it correctly. All right, and so that's all the liners for the pockets on the right-hand side. So now what we're doing is we're pivoting to the photo mats themselves. So before we do that, I'm going to go ahead, and since this is full enough, I'm just going to go ahead and arrange it to be easier to cut, and then I'm going to just go ahead and print it out. And when I arrange it to make it easier to cut, what I'm trying to do is keep corners together, but I'm also trying to keep colors that are similar apart. So originally I had these dogs here and then I moved them. That's just because these blues are so similar. It's easier for me to cut these dogs out. I just know it'll be easier for me to cut those dogs out later if they're not there. Oops. Okay, so the 3 layers that comprise this dog, I'm just selecting them in the right hand, and then I'm right clicking and I'm going to merge them, and that's going to make this dog layer a single piece so that I can, oops, obviously I did not select the correct layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them on the piece. So what I've done is I've clicked this and I'm pressing Control. Okay. I think I've got all of them, yeah. Now I've got the correct layers. Marcel, come over here. Yeah, Marcel, come be over here, Marcel. Marcel's headbutting Liz. All right, so I'm going to print this now. So that we can have it ready to go when the other things are printing. And so I'm just going into my advanced settings where I have Super B high quality, which is essentially just the way that I always, my preferred settings for this. And one thing I'm noticing when I look at it is that this card here goes all the way to the top when it showed me the print view. And that's not something that I actually necessarily want. I, if possible, like to have a 1/4 inch collar all the way around everything. So I'm just going to move everybody down a scooch. Meow Cell. Okay. he needs some snuggle time. Maybe we'll give him some desk scritches while we print here. Okay, so let me now retry printing. Put him on the desk. And then I'll switch, while it's printing, I'll switch the camera over there so he can just get 5 minutes of scritches or something. Well, not 5 minutes. That's not how long it takes to print a sheet, but you know. You all know. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I am just going to save this. Just in case the printer has another malfunction or loses power or what. All right, Marcel, no. Marcel, look, you're going to have all the attention you could possibly want. Look at this. Look, there's a little Marcel on the screen. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Marcel. Look, say hi to all your friends. Say hi, friends. Hi, friends. So what's going on with Marcel today is he had his vet checkup. Yes, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday. Come here, buddy. Come here. And he got all his boosters and things. And so he's just been processing his vaccines the last couple days, and he's been kind of sleepy and kind of needy. So he needs extra love and attention. He started to get his energy back around 2:30 last night, which was fun for me as the person who is up at that time. But today he has a lot more energy, and he's been trying to get everyone to play with him, and he's been bringing people toys, and he's just shad. Yeah, not shad, but just needs lots of attention today. He does. So that's why he's in the office. Yeah, that's why you're in the office, even though you're being a pest, because you need a little more help. Yeah. All right. Okay, so that's his situation. But other than being a pest, he is doing awesome, according to the vet. He's just an awesome cat. All right, so hi, sweetie. Yeah, I know. Well, you didn't stay over there with your friends. I thought you were done. No? You want to come back? You want to come back over here? Yes. Oh, he switched it to the PC desktop by stepping on it. Okay. You can have a few more pets. And then we have to learn. We have to learn. What's the plan? What's your plan, Marcel? What's your plan? Look how big Marcel is. Remember when he used to be a little tiny cat? A little teensy baby? Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the PC. All right. So what we have remaining are, now we're going to be working on the inserts. So for these pockets that we just designed. So we have a fresh sheet of paper to print on. And our first insert is to go on a 4.5 inch by 6.5 inch photo folder. So it needs to be 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So we're going to make a new blank file that has those measurements. So 4 1/4, which is 4.25, by 6 1/4, which is 6.25. All right. That would be so helpful, Melanie, if we had you as a cat wrangler. So that would be so helpful. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to look at was, and we talked about, we did a little bit of this last time, where looking at the tags, because I know we used Ugly Sweater Party, but we still have this shiny and bright American made glass tree ornaments, which I do like. This one we have used, the Happy Holidays we have used. Actually, we've used quite a few of these. We used this Santa as well. Maybe I've used all the tags. Really, the Cookie Exchange and the Christmas Sing-Along and the It's a Christmas Party are the ones we haven't used. I like the It's a Christmas Party, but it's the wrong blue. So what we're going to do is we'll look at the other cards. All right, so we still have, I feel like we've used this Santa. I know we've used this tree. I know I've been avoiding these ornaments. Have we used this tree? Marcel, have we used this tree? Marcel, do you know? If we haven't used this tree, which I don't think we have, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll just use this tree to cover our thing. So that'll be great. So what we're going to do is I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees right first, just because I know that it needs to be ultimately, you know, vertical, and then we'll drop it on. And then it's the same process as before. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this darker, use the eyedropper tool to pick up this darker green from the background, and then use that darker green to make a square to fill in the background. And then that'll reveal to me if my card has any artifacts from when it was cut. And you can see it does, actually. It has this, this white stripe here. So I can just make another rectangle to cover that white stripe. And then that gives us a nice card, the exact right size. So now I can flatten the image, which makes it easier to move because it's all one piece now. And then I can just scroll up in the photo bin to tell where I can see my new fresh sheet. And then I can just drag it down onto my new fresh sheet. And that's the start of a new sheet. Okay, so next pocket down is the pocket that holds the two tags. All right, and one of the tags we're going to use as a photo mat because it will hold a 4x4 photo square. So what we just need to do is we just need to make a 4 1/4 by like 1.5 inch just tag topper. Just pick whatever pattern paper we like for that, and then we'll fill in the rest with photo mat. But the other tag, we're going to make the whole tag, and it's going to be total it's going to be 2.5 by 5 1/4. So we got 2.5 by 5 1/4. So let's make a new blank file. So 2.5 wide, which is 2.5, by 5 1/4, which is 5.25. And so that's the tag. And then for the topper of the other tag, it's 4 1/4. So it's 4.25 by, we really just need like 1.5. So 1.5. All right, so those are those. And when you make new blank files in Photoshop, they go to the end of your photo bin, okay? So if you're looking for them, that's where they are. All right, so I'm gonna go look at the journaling type things and see if there's anything in the color story. Now there's this, which, you know, we could use. This is actually in the correct colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this in as tight on the design itself as I can get. And crop off all the edges, because the edges I can already see, just like visually, I can tell the edges are they have pieces of other things. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up, and then width wise I'm going to resize this, and I'm going to say just be 2 inches wide. Okay, and you can be whatever height you want. All right, and so now what I can do is I can just go to the photo bin, and then I'm going to drag this down onto here. All right, and we're going to start it an inch down from the top. And then what I want to do is we're going to use the eyedropper tool to grab the color and make a background rectangle so that the tag is now solidly this color. And then I'm going to go back to the piece that I was manipulating. So I'm going to go back to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these 3 tags. This one, and this one. So I'm going to crop it again. And I'm going to grab those. And when I grab those, I just want to make sure, well, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I was going to say I'm going to make sure I don't get any of this snowflake right here, but I'll just cover up anything I do grab from that snowflake. And then I'm going to go back to the photo bin, and I'm going to go back to my tag, and I'm going to drag this down onto it so that I can I'm just going to hide. So here's a trick. I was having trouble lining these two up with each other because I already put the background square on there. And so if you'll notice when you're in your layers over here, all of them have an eyeball next to them. If you X the eyeball, then that will turn that layer off or hide that layer so that you can do what it is you need to do. And then you can bring that layer back just like that. So I just did that because I needed the help lining up this piece. And one of the things I don't love about how this piece turned out is I think I want to rotate it 180 degrees. So rotate layer 180 degrees. Yes. All right. So these two snowflake, this snowflake and this snowflake, when it was in this position, I felt like these two snowflakes, they're a little too close to each other for my liking, and these two are a little too far apart. They're just, I don't love the spacing. So if I rotate it 180 degrees, then that gives me a little bit better spacing on my snowflakes. It's not a big deal. It was just, you know. All right, so now I'm going to zoom in on my little snowflake artifact, and I'm going to make a tiny rectangle on top of it. All right, so... and then I'm just going to get my zoom tool and say fit on screen so I can see the whole thing. And there we go. All right. And so now we have this cute little journaling spot where we can make a list, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Should we make one more? And then we have a top 10. Ooh, and then we could put a 2 here, a 3 here. Oh, okay. All right. Hold on. We're going to zhuzh it a little bit. We're going to do a little zhuzh. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to grab one with no snowflake, just one this time. Okay, so I'm going to get the crop tool, and I'm going to grab just this one, and then back to the photos, back to the tag, drop it on. I'm going to drag it to the bottom. I'm going to put it right there because I like how it looks there. That's literally the only reason why. And I'm gonna zoom in because I've got to make a tiny rectangle to get rid of my little white spot here. There's other ways to get rid of it. The tiny rectangles just make it quick and easy because we already had to make a rectangle. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all the layers that aren't my rectangle and I'm gonna highlight them, and then I'm gonna right click them and I'm gonna merge them. So now they're all one piece, which will enable me to change where I put this. So I can bring it up just a little bit, which is what I wanted. I wanted to bring it up just a little bit. And in doing so, I notice, here we go, I have another little tiny artifact I have to deal with. So I'm just gonna zoom in on that. Okay. All right. Now I'm just going to merge that little square into this piece so it still has one whole thing. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I want to make a red red numbers to go on these snowflakes. So to ensure that the red will match the collection, I use the eyedropper tool to grab the red for my color. I'm going to go in and I'm going to copy this hex code in case it doesn't carry over to the font tray, because it doesn't always. In this case, it did not. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type a 2, and then I'm going to change the color. So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to Control V and I'm going to say make it red. Okay, now this is larger than what we strictly want, so I'm going to just cut it in half and see how we do with 24, and then we can go from there. So I think it's still a little too big, so let's do 18, and then hopefully that'll be good enough. Yeah, 18 looks pretty good. All right, and then just I'm going to zoom in just so it's a little bit easier to center everybody how I want it. And I'm going to drop a shadow just to help, not a ton. I'm just going to do whatever the default is, just to make it a little bit easier. So this is 1, 2. So here we're going to do 3. Okay, so that's 4. So this one will be 5. And, you know, people will understand that this is a top 10 list. See, so sometimes I think people worry, well, if not everyone is numbered, people will get it. 6, 7, 8. Nine. Okay, to drop shadow, right click, edit layer style, click drop shadow, and it has something pre-populated. I'm just going with that because I just want something to give a little separation visually between these and these. It doesn't need to be dramatic. And now I'm going to fit it on the screen. And there we go. There's our little top 10 list. So now what we can do is we can just flatten the image, and then we can drag this onto our thing to be printed. And we need to drag it on there twice or duplicate it, because we need 2 of them because the tag has a front and a back. So there we go. All right, now they're there. All right. So that's those guys. So now we just need a, the 4 3/4 or the 4 1/4 by 1.5 inch piece. And actually, I'm going to just go ahead and close these. And go snag a piece of pattern paper. So I'm just thinking of something that would look cute next to this, and I think it's a good time to bring in this poinsettia. So I'm going to crop a piece that's 4 1/4 by 1 1/2. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to resize this to be 6 inches, a 6-inch square. That will make the pattern more dense, so that when I go to take a 1 1/2 inch strip out of it, it will have more poinsettias in it. That's basically what I'm trying to do. So we're trying to get a piece that's 4 1/4 by 1 1/2. And so this is it. So now that I can see it, it's just a matter of, okay, how do I want to do it? I kind of like having this having a red one in the middle, because the red one is going to get covered by a by the photo reinforcer, the hole reinforcer. So I'm going to snag from, ooh, what about you? Yeah. All right, maybe, there we go. I'm going to grab this piece. Okay. All right, and then once again, we're just going to drag it onto our piece. And again, we're going to duplicate it because we want 2 of them, because the tag has a front and a back. Okay, so this is the top pocket, and then these 2 are the middle pocket. So now we need the bottom pocket. And the bottom pocket piece, the main thing is it has that front image that's 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. So what we want to do is we want to find something that's roughly square that's going to look cute on the front of that. And so, you know, we did this wreath last week. So it was just something similar, where if you cut a stripe, there's going to be a red stripe cut out of the middle of it, because it's going to be cut in half to be a gatefold card. So we're just looking for something that will still be understandable as what it is if it had a red stripe going down the middle. And I actually think that this pink fireplace I like. And I think what I want to do is I want to put the pink fireplace over this so that this looks like wallpaper. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this to be fairly tiny. And in fact, I'm going to resize it to be 4 1/4, because that's the size roughly that I need for my piece. And my final piece needs to be 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. And this is going to become the thing I build my piece off of. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go switch. I'm going to go find that fireplace again. Just scanning, you know. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. And then I'm going to resize this because I need it to be the correct size. So the size that I need it to be is 3 3/4, which is 3.75 height. Okay. And so now what I can do is I can just drag this onto the piece of pattern paper I just made, and it'll center itself. I'm just going to stretch it ever so slightly because there's a little gap at the bottom. And then what I might do is I'm trying, yeah, there we go. So I'm using a 90-degree up lighting angle, so that would make the fire, the light source, so you can see that it's putting the shadows like above the mantle, and that's how it would be in a home. So that's going to give it a very realistic, well, I mean, not very realistic, it's pink cartoon bricks, but a more realistic look than if we had just left it flat. So, okay. But yeah, that looks great. That looks great. So we'll go ahead and use this as our opener. We have used this pattern already on this layout. It's on the opposite page, but because we've shrunk it so much and we're using it essentially as wallpaper here, I think we'll be fine. So all I have to do now is, you know, just flatten the image, and then I can drag it down onto my construction sheet here. All right, but what I definitely want to do, because we did this all on the actual pattern paper itself, is we want to really just back out completely. So I'm just going to press Control Z until it's not making any more changes, so that I know my paper is back to normal. That way, if I want to use the paper again, it's there to use. And so there we go. All right. So that's that. So now we have journaling or some other kind of image that goes on the inside. Plus we need some kind of pattern paper on the back side. And we need a closure piece, because this piece does have a closure. And so I'm going to go and use, for the closure, I'm just, yeah, I think I'm going to use the, do I want to use the feathers or the stars? I think I'm going to use the feathers. I think I want to use the feathers. But let me just quickly look and see if there's anything. This on a light blue background could be fun. I need a piece that is, so this piece has to be 4 3/4 inches wide, but height, it needs to be, or not 4 1/4 inch wide. Height wise, it needs to be 7/8, and 7/8 in decimal is 875. 875. Okay, so to make something an eighth in decimal points, this isn't perfect, but it's as close as you're going to get, is that you would add 0.125 or 0.125, however you want to think about it. But 0.125 you add to whatever the 1/4 inch amount is below. So if I want to do 7/8, the 1/4 inch below that is 3/4. So 3/4 is 0.75. So I need to add 0.125 to 0.75, and that's how I get 0.875. All right. That's the closest you can really get to an eighth in Photoshop. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag this down onto the piece I just made, and it's actually a little bit big. So I'm going to bring it in. All right. And then we just need to make a little pattern paper behind it. Hi, Marcel. And I think I'll use what I really wish I had is this sheet without the leaves, because this has such, it's cute snowflake. Sorry, that's Marcel, he's helping. But we don't have that, so. Hi, baby. This, if it was green instead of red. Let me just try something, okay? This may not work. It may look terrible and weird, but let's give it a whirl. Let's go here. Yeah, let's go here. And let's layer from the background. And let's see if we can't just swap this red and make it blue. And what we're left with. Okay, okay, okay. All right. We don't need very much of this, right? We don't need very much at all. So I think what I can do is I think I can take a little snippet of it where it looks pretty decent. So I'm going to just grab an inch of this. And I'm just going to look in here and see if I have any like major red splotches. So I'm just going to fit it on the screen so it's as big as it's going to get. And that's going to enable me to see where there might be red I might want to get rid of. And I just have to decide if I care, and I've decided I don't. So we're now going to drag this down onto the sheet we're working on and see how it works behind our bouquet. All right, so I might want to make our bouquet a little bit bigger. And we definitely want to give it a little bit of a shadow, not much. And then I think just like that, it actually looks pretty cute. So let's go ahead and just take it into our print sheet. And that's our closure for our tag. So, and it's, the reason I wanted it is because it's going to go here. Sorry, it's on top of this one. So it's going to go like this. So I wanted to keep that bow kind of look. So that's kind of why I forced it to work for me. Okay, but also why I didn't want to reuse this background. Okay. So now we just need the back of this. We just need something to clean up the back. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to take my, my plaid. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a 4 1/4 by 3 3/4 inch piece of this. And there we go. And now I can just drag that down onto my print sheet. All right, so that is the back. So now we just need the inside. So I just want to look at these sorts of things and ask if there's anything that I want to use, that I could use. I really like looking at these. I like this right here, this pink. So I think what I'm going to do is use it. And we're just going to fit it on the screen to make it a little bit easier to see. And essentially all I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop it tight to the hole reinforcer. So I'm just going to crop that hole reinforcer out of it. And then over here, I just need to bring it in so that square looks a little bit more normal. And same here, I need to bring it in a little bit so that the square looks a little bit more normal. Okay, so now that I've cropped off anything that makes it look like a tag, I can resize it. So I need it to be 2 inches by 3 3/4. So I'm gonna make it 3.75 inches in height so that now I know it's the correct height. And now it's just a matter of cropping it down to 2 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop a 2-inch slice, but I'm going to take it from this poinsettia here. Okay. but I want my squares to be even, so I'm gonna kind of eyeball it so that I have the same width on either edge, so it doesn't look as cut off and weird. And so now this is the correct size, so I can drag it onto my print sheet. Again, 2 inches by 3 3/4. I'm going to duplicate it, okay, and then I'm going to flip it. So on image, rotate, flip, layer, horizontal, and that's going to move the poinsettias to the opposite side so that when it's in the book, I can put it like this. It'll have the photo in the middle. So there's a poinsettia on the top left and a poinsettia on the top right, so they mirror each other, and that'll just be a little more visually pleasing to me. So there. So that finishes off all of the inserts for the inside of the wallet. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is, because that's a kind of decent recording break spot, I'm going to do a recording break here. In the next video, we'll do the back. So we're done with the inside of the wallet completely, and now we just have the back to do. So I'm going to do recording break here. In the next video, we're going to do the back, and then after that, we're going to start cutting things out and assembling and all of that. So so for those of you who are watching live, just hang tight. Nothing's going to change for you. For those of you who are watching in the YouTube archives or on YouTube itself, if you're on YouTube, check the playlist to see what happens next, or to see what came before, so you can know how to make one of these of your very own. And if you're watching in the archives, just go ahead and click to the next video. The rest of the class will be there already. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.